spanned the course of years. The FBI led a coordinated takedown across 11 states to arrest over 30 individuals today responsible for this case.
A storm has hit the NBA. More than 30 players banned amid a $1 billion gambling fraud. The scandal cuts deep, threatening the league's stars, its games, and the very trust of fans. Who engineered this scheme, and how far does it reach? In this video, we uncover the shocking details and the players caught in the web. Black Magic Bets. How the scheme began. It started quietly. Anomalous betting lines, unusual player exits, and unheard-of prop bet payouts. Federal investigators began piecing together a web of illegal wagers tied to insider information from within the league. An indictment unsealed in late 2025 outlines a scheme in which two intertwined operations funneled more than $1 billion in bets, one involving NBA personnel exploiting performance and availability data, the other using high-stakes illegal poker rooms as the money laundering conduit.
Which is very much ongoing. Not only did we crack into the fraud that these perpetrators committed on the grand stage of the NBA, but we also entered and executed a system of justice.
According to prosecutors, the scheme was enabled by players and staff sharing non-public information about injuries, rest decisions, minute allocations, and game strategies. That data then tipped bettors who placed large wagers, many of them unders on player performance, that paid off handsomely when players exited early or played below expectations. Simultaneously, a second network of underground poker games, hosted in places like Las Vegas, Miami, and the Hamptons, acted as a funnel. Money came in from the banned bets and illegal betting markets, flowed through the poker rings operated by organized crime families, and then circulated back into the sports betting underground. High-tech cheating devices, X-ray tables, marked chips, rigged shufflers allowed the poker operation to extract millions from victims, some of whom were professional athletes. The scale is breathtaking. FBI officials say the fraud spans several years and involves over 30 defendants from both the sports and gambling industries. The stakes are not just financial, they strike at the heart of the league's integrity. If the games themselves can be manipulated for profit, fans can no longer believe what they're watching is honest. The $1 billion web, players, coaches, crime families. In the unfolding drama, the alleged scale of the scheme is staggering. Prosecutors claim more than $1 billion in wagers were placed using non-public NBA information and illegal betting networks. Under indictment are current and former players, coaches, face cards used by crime syndicates, and high-tech poker rings, all connected in what the Federal Bureau of Investigation director called mind-boggling.
Against La Casa Nostra, to include the Bonanno, Gambino, Genovese, and Lucchese crime families. And the fraud is mind-boggling.
According to the official filings from the United States Department of Justice, between December 2022 and March 2024, conspirators obtained confidential injury reports, lineup decisions, and player minute restrictions. These insights were then passed to bettors who placed prop bets or unders on player performance, wagers that would be almost guaranteed if insiders could force a star out of a game or limit minutes. For example, one game on March 23, 2023 involved Terry Rozier allegedly indicating he would leave after 9 minutes. The tip preceded bets forecasting his underperformance, which paid off when Rozier scored only 5 points and played minimal minutes. At the same time, the investigation uncovered a parallel ring of underground poker games allegedly run by well-known crime families: the Gambino crime family, Bonanno crime family, Lucchese crime family, and Genovese crime family, that served as money laundering conduits. These poker operations used X-ray tables, marked chips, contact lenses that read cards, and other sophisticated tech to cheat unsuspecting players out of millions. One accused figure, Coach Chauncey Billups, matched a co-conspirator 8 in the filings, allegedly tipped bettors that several starters for the Portland Trail Blazers would sit out a March 24, 2023 game before the rest of the world knew. That early tip allowed large wagers against the Blazers that lined up with the subsequent outcome. The interconnected nature of these schemes underscores the threat. When one side manipulates the games and the other launders winnings through illegal gaming, the entire structure of professional sport is compromised. With alleged bets exceeding $1 billion, the financial and reputational exposure is massive, not just for the individuals involved, but for the league, sponsors, and broadcasters alike. Behind the curtain, coaches, players, and the underground odds. The dual investigations unsealed by federal prosecutors revealed two intertwined webs of corruption, one affecting NBA games through insider prop bets, and the other exploiting the world of underground poker to launder and amplify illegal gains. On one front, current coach Chauncey Billups and former player coach Damon Jones stand accused of serving as face cards in rigged poker games run by mafia families, while at the same time tipsters and player insiders manipulated performance data and availability of players to feed a second betting machine.
And you'll hear more about those details today. The charges and the arrests that were taken down across this country range from wire fraud, money laundering, extortion, robbery, illegal gambling.
In the poker ring, Billups and Jones allegedly participated in high-stakes games from New York to Las Vegas, luring wealthy fish under the guise of legit celebrity stakes. Once seated, victims found themselves playing against colluding insiders with the assistance of high-tech cheating tools, X-ray card tables, modified shufflers, poker chip tray analyzers, and special contact lenses to read backs of cards. Simultaneously, in the NBA betting segment of the case, prosecutors described players and coaches feeding non-public information, game day injuries, rest decisions, minute allocations, to conspirators placing large prop bets. One indictment describes coach or insider co-conspirator 8 telling a bettor that a team would be tanking and that its starters would be rested, leading to bets against the team before the public knew. The facts align with Billups' timeline and team. What makes the scheme extraordinarily perilous for the league is not just the number of players involved, but the sophistication and integration of these operations. Criminal networks using high-range technology and basketball access working in tandem. The result, profits from one side, the poker laundering, feed into the other, insider betting, creating a self-reinforcing cycle of fraud. And while Billups is charged primarily in the poker scheme, the same case overlaps with the NBA betting investigation headed by the Federal Bureau of Investigation, which described the sports betting case as the insider trading saga for the NBA. Red flag moments, games that raised alarms. Investigators identified 7 specific NBA games between 2023 and 2024 that triggered alarm bells in the Federal Bureau of Investigation-led probe into insider betting and manipulation. One of the earliest, on March 23, 2023, the Charlotte Hornets versus New Orleans Pelicans match emerged as suspicious after guard Terry Rozier left the game after only 9 minutes with a foot injury that wasn't publicly listed. The indictment alleges he informed a conspirator ahead of time, enabling large prop bets on his underperformance, bets that reportedly paid out more than $260,000.
Where it hides in La Casa Nostra. And when these two collided together, they perpetrated a fraud that is historic in terms of not just money, but the scheme.
The very next night, March 24, 2023, the Portland Trail Blazers faced the Chicago Bulls. In that game, the Blazers sat out 4 starters, including Damian Lillard and Jusuf Nurkic, a decision allegedly tipped ahead of time by a coach or insider labeled co-conspirator 8, matching the career timeline of then Blazers coach Chauncey Billups. Roughly $100,000 in bets were placed against Portland once the information leaked. Other flagged games include April 6, 2023, when the Orlando Magic inexplicably benched multiple starters against the Cleveland Cavaliers. The indictment alleges hidden communications enabled bets before the public knew. Still others, February 9, 2023, when the Los Angeles Lakers played the Milwaukee Bucks and star LeBron James sat out, insider tip led to big wagers. January 26, 2024 and March 20, 2024 saw the Toronto Raptors and Jontay Porter enter the scheme, as he reportedly exited games early after notifying associates of his limited role. What ties these games together are 3 patterns: sudden injury or rest announcements, abnormal betting spikes on prop bets, especially unders, and non-public information funneled to conspirators ahead of public disclosures. Prosecutors call it the sports betting equivalent of insider trading. These moments now represent crack in the NBA's facade of fairness. When players, coaching staff, or insiders manipulate availability or minute allocations for profit, fans lose faith and broadcasters question what they're showing. Breaking the roster, 30-plus players banned, futures on the line. The wave of indictments and league action has now swept over the roster of the NBA in a way unseen in its history. More than 30 players and coaches are now under sanction, investigation, or facing outright bans as federal prosecutors, and the league itself pursue every thread of a scheme that has shaken the core of pro basketball.
He and our attorney general have been able to go to these application companies and have these apps actually deleted and permanently removed. That's the immediate solution. But if these people continue to endanger the lives of law enforcement, you bet this FBI is going to chase every single one of them down.
One of the earliest precedents, Jontay Porter, a then two-way player with the Toronto Raptors, was banned for life in April 2024 after investigators found he had disclosed confidential status about his health to bettors and then placed wagers on his own underperformance. That lifetime ban became a warning to all: no one is untouchable. Now, with the new indictments, including high-profile figures such as Terry Rozier and Chauncey Billups, followers of the league are grappling with just how many careers may be gone. Prosecutors allege many players gave inside information or improperly influenced minute counts, rest decisions, or injuries to benefit large bets placed by associates. The league's constitution gives the commissioner wide power to permanently disqualify players found to have conspired to cause any game to result otherwise than on its merits. With the precedent set in the Porter case, many insiders expect that the list of bans could continue to grow as investigations dig deeper. For players on current rosters or free agents, the exposure is acute. The possibility of a lifetime ban, voided contracts, lost endorsements, and destroyed legacies is very real. Agents and clubs are already reviewing backgrounds, betting histories, and any unusual patterns of player injury. Careers may not survive the fallout. The broader message to the league and anyone within the sport: the days of ignoring prop bet risks or informal bets among associates are over. With 30-plus individuals already flagged, the roster isn't just thinning, it's being rebuilt under the shadow of federal scrutiny and public mistrust. The league reacts: enforcement, investigations, and fallout. When the scandal involving Adam Silver's league erupted, spanning active players, coaches, and organized crime, it sent shockwaves through the NBA. The league's immediate reaction was as much about damage control as it was about justice. Within hours of the arrests of Terry Rozier and Chauncey Billups, Silver appeared during the league's national broadcast. My initial reaction was I was deeply disturbed. There's nothing more important to the league and its fans than the integrity of the competition. Both Rozier, active player, and Billups, current head coach, were immediately placed on administrative leave, an unprecedented step that signaled the NBA's recognition of the severity of the alleged wrongdoing. Clubs were ordered to cooperate with federal investigators, while internal compliance teams scrambled to review betting patterns, injury disclosures, and player conduct within each franchise. In response, the league issued a sweeping internal memo to all 30 teams, focusing on the heightened risks associated with proposition bets, props, injury, rest disclosures, and connections between team decisions and betting markets. The memo instructed franchises to enhance their monitoring systems and carry out extensive education programs for players and staff. Notably, the NBA announced its intention to deploy AI-powered monitoring of betting data, social media activity, and injury report timing, marking a substantial shift in how the league treats external betting threats. Beyond internal action, the league is under external pressure. Federal investigators are reviewing communication logs and betting platforms, while Congress, through the Senate Commerce Committee, has demanded a briefing from Silver about how the NBA safeguards against gambling corruption and its ties with sports betting partners. The ripple effects go beyond discipline. Teams have begun auditing player contracts, insurance provisions, and background checks related to betting exposure. Agents are advising clients to steer clear of even innocuous gambling connections. Sponsors, already skittish about reputation risk, are signaling tighter clauses regarding conduct related to gambling or betting scandal involvement. The league's enforcement posture now serves as a turning point. The message is clear: manipulation of game outcomes, player performances, or insider disclosures for financial gain will not be tolerated. Yet whether these measures are strong enough to restore trust remains uncertain. Media storm, public trust, sponsors, and broadcasts at risk. The echo of the scandal reverberates far beyond the court, into the living rooms of fans, the boardrooms of sponsors, and the control rooms of broadcast networks. As the NBA grapples with a litany of arrests and bans tied to illegal gambling and insider manipulation, media outlets and advertisers are sounding alarms about the damage to the league's brand.
One of the players that was a teammate of LeBron gave word that he may not be playing the game to a guy on the outside. Do you think this is going to be tied to some NBA superstars as well? And Chauncey is a superstar. He's an NBA champion, finals MVP. He's absolutely a superstar, a head coach.
From primetime talk shows to sports business journals, commentary has shifted from shock to unrelenting scrutiny. Longtime analysts like Charles Barkley have described the scandal as unforgivable, rejecting the notion of mere gambling addiction and instead condemning the deliberate manipulation of games for profit. Meanwhile, broadcasters are forced to ask whether viewers can trust what they're watching if player availability, minute allocations, and performance may have been influenced by criminal bets. A recent report by the Sports Business Press warned that the league's marriage with legalized betting is now under question, calling this moment an existential threat to professional sport. Sponsors and advertisers are watching the fallout closely. Many signed multi-year deals built around integrity and fair competition, messages now undermined by headline-making arrests. One leading sportsbook operator described the scandal as deeply disturbing, emphasizing how even regulated betting markets are threatened when insider manipulation goes undetected. The media scrutiny intensifies because the scandal arrives at a time of explosive growth in legal sports betting. As sports leagues increasingly partner with betting platforms for additional revenue, the public expects transparent safeguards. Yet the arrests show that even elite leagues aren't immune to corruption when the profit motive lines up with insider access. In many outlets, the story is no longer just about the arrested individuals, it's about the system that enabled them. For the NBA, the challenge is twofold. First, to restore belief that games are contested fairly. Second, to reassure sponsors, broadcasters, and fans that the league's business model, especially its expansion into betting and streaming, is not compromised. Legal earthquake, federal charges, organized crime connections. The scale of the legal crackdown is extraordinary. Federal prosecutors have unsealed indictments that reveal the involvement of major crime families: Gambino crime family, Bonanno crime family, Genovese crime family, and Lucchese crime family in gambling operations tied to the NBA. One indictment describes the poker game ring as mind-boggling, with high-tech cheating devices and a network that spanned multiple states.
On our watch, and on the off chance that they do or participate in a scheme via an app or otherwise that does so, they will find themselves in handcuffs, just like so many of those that have tried to hurt law enforcement in the past.
In one of the key documents, the FBI and U.S. Attorney's Office outline how the gambling scheme extended far beyond simple sports bets. One part of the operation centered around rigged poker games where players were defrauded using altered shuffling machines, contact lenses that read card backs, X-ray tables, and chip tray camera systems. These games, held in Manhattan, Las Vegas, Miami, and the Hamptons, lured wealthy gamblers with the promise of celebrity competition and delivered organized theft under the guise of high stakes. Parallel to that, another arm of the investigation reveals how players, coaches, and insiders in the NBA provided non-public information about injuries, minute allocations, and roster changes to bettors. Betting patterns on at least 7 NBA games raised red flags, and that information was tied back to people inside the league. Significantly, the legal charges run deep. The offenses include conspiracy to commit wire fraud, money laundering, and the operation of illegal gambling businesses. Those indicted face decades of prison time, signaling that federal authorities view this not as isolated sports infractions, but as major white-collar crime. For the NBA, systemically, this legal earthquake forces a view of the league's exposure. Its business, partnerships, and governance are under scrutiny. The question is no longer only how many games were compromised, but also how corrupted was the structure that permitted it. With crime family links involved, the reputational risk is profound. Fan backlash and sponsor worries. The NBA under scrutiny. The shockwaves from this scandal aren't confined to locker rooms. They've erupted across living rooms, boardrooms, and streaming platforms. As NBA faces the fallout of mass bans and criminal indictments, its trusted image is cracking, and the media glare is punishing.
I gotta admit, I was nervous.
Television analysts and pundits have made no effort to soften the narrative. On a recent episode of Inside the NBA, Charles Barkley blasted the scandal as unforgivable, rejecting the notion of gambling being merely an addiction, and instead pointing to deliberate manipulation of games for profit. Social media platforms are aflame too. A post by former player Kevin Love mocking the arrests drew sharp backlash, forcing him to delete the post and issue a public apology. The episode highlighted how even secondary figures are under scrutiny. Speakers in the sports business world warn that what's happening is more than reputational damage, it's a financial threat. According to the Sports Business Journal, this scandal questions the league's marriage to the gambling industry and poses an existential risk to the model the NBA has built around legal betting partnerships. Sponsors and broadcasters are looking nervously at their contracts. With the league's legitimacy under a microscope, advertising deals tied to star players or fair competition messages are suddenly hollow. Some broadcasters are reportedly reviewing how they cover games and how they disclose betting-related risks to viewers. For fans, the trust deficit is real. If minute allocations, player exits, or injury reports can be manipulated for money, what they see on the court might not be the competition they believed in. A piece in the Boston Globe captures the sentiment. Just when things were going so well, this happens, written about the disappointment and broader danger to the sport's image. The broader media question: can the NBA recover its narrative when the industry it embraced, the sports betting boom, now appears complicit in that integrity crisis? The league finds itself in a paradox. It encouraged betting partnerships, then must now prove it can police them. Can they bounce back, rebuilding reputation and integrity? In the aftermath of the largest gambling scandal in the history of the NBA, involving bans of over 30 players, coaches under investigation, and alleged ties to organized crime, the league stands at a crossroads. Commissioner Adam Silver has publicly acknowledged the damage. There's nothing more important than protecting the integrity of NBA competition. The question now, can the league rebuild trust with fans, stakeholders, and the broader sports ecosystem? The first step for the NBA is transformative governance. The recently distributed memo to all 30 teams lays out concrete reforms, stricter injury report disclosures, independent monitoring of betting patterns, and closing the gap between information held by insiders and what the public can access. At a time when the league has embraced partnerships with sportsbooks and data providers, it must now ensure that those revenue channels do not undermine the product itself. The Guardian argues the league must decide whether the game still carries meaning or simply serves as fodder for betting markets. Fan trust, once taken for granted, has been eroded. When games, player minutes, or injury announcements can be manipulated for profit, the foundation of fair competition appears compromised. Media commentary has shifted accordingly, from shock to skepticism, and sponsors are already reassessing their commitments. The league must demonstrate transparency, so every missed shot, every substitution, or sudden injury doesn't carry the whiff of collusion. Legal and regulatory oversight play a crucial role in this restoration. Congress is actively seeking documents from the NBA and demanding explanations about how the league will prevent future abuses. Senators such as Ted Cruz and Maria Cantwell have requested briefings and internal records, signaling that professional sports may face federal integrity standards like those in financial markets. Internally, the NBA must embed a culture where integrity is non-negotiable. That means educating players and staff, utilizing advanced analytics and monitoring systems, revising league rules to cover prop bets and insider disclosures, and being willing to enforce lifetime bans when needed. The precedent set by earlier bans, such as the lifetime expulsion of Jontay Porter for tipping and betting on his own performance, serves as a warning that the league will act, but also that its actions must be seen as consistent and credible. Ultimately, the road ahead is long. Rebuilding the NBA's reputation will require more than internal memos. It will depend on visible outcomes, robust reporting, and the public airing of reform processes. If the league succeeds, it can emerge stronger. If not, the trust faltered in 2025 could linger as a scar on the sport for years to come. The 2025 NBA gambling scandal has exposed the league to unprecedented scrutiny, reshaping the relationship between players, coaches, fans, and sponsors. Over 30 individuals have been banned, legal investigations continue, and the integrity of the game hangs in the balance. Only time will reveal if the NBA can restore trust and secure the future of professional basketball. Stay informed, share your thoughts, and follow the story as it unfolds.